In 1987, the Cincinnati Bengals were terrible. They finished the season with a 4-11 record, which was the worst record in the AFC Central and was tied with Kansas City for the worst record in the AFC. They blew multiple games in spectacular fashion, including a game against the 49ers where they had a 6-point lead with 6 seconds left and had the ball and somehow lost. That episode of Dumb Decisions is in the upper right corner. And considering the fact that the team hadn't made the postseason since 1982, things were not looking promising. But everything changed in 1988, when the Bengals went 12-4 and had arguably their best season ever by winning the AFC Central and making it to Super Bowl XXIII. There were a lot of factors that contributed to this turnaround. Boomer Esiason had an MVP season where he finished second in passing touchdowns and first in passer rating. The offense was clicking on all cylinders, as in the ground game, Ickey Woods had 15 touchdowns, and the team scored the most points in pro football. But perhaps the most important reason why the Bengals were able to turn it around was because of a $5 bill. This is the story of how $5 helped the Bengals make it to the Super Bowl. To understand why, we need to look at Bruce Coslet, the offensive coordinator and former wide receivers coach on the Bengals. This was before Coslet took over as the head coach of the New York Jets, where some of his decisions were, let's just say, not the best. That episode of Dumb Decisions is in the upper right corner. Going back a bit, Coslet was a tight end on the Bengals for 8 seasons, where his primary job was to block. As he says, he's an old tight end. If you don't block, you don't play. Coslet was looking for a way to get his receivers to block. So during that 1988 season, he came up with an idea. If a receiver fails to run the right route or misses a block, they get fined. However, if a receiver sets a good block and is able to knock an opposing defensive back off balance, Coslet gives away $5. In the postseason, this increased to $10. You're probably thinking 2 things right now. Number 1, isn't this just like Bountygate? The answer to that question is no. While parts of Bountygate involve payments for knocking players out of the game and injuring them, no part of Coslet's structure involved bonuses for injuring players. Coslet's plan only had him give money if a player laid a good block. And number 2, isn't this an illegal bonus, since this is a performance bonus that isn't in the contract? The answer to that question is also no. Under Coslet's plan, he didn't give the money directly to the player. Rather, he put it in a pool. Once enough money was collected in the pool, the players would receive a prize in the locker room, like a stereo or a CD player. What Coslet was doing was perfectly legal. And this plan of his worked out big time during the AFC Championship against the Buffalo Bills. I made a video about the drama surrounding the 88 Bills entering the postseason if you want to check that out in the upper right corner. As for this game, the Bengals were leading 14-10 late in the third quarter with the ball in the red zone. 2nd and 5, and Boomer Esiason hands it off to Ickey Woods. He gets level. Woods loses 3 yards on the play, and it should be 3rd and 8. In a situation like this, you figure the Bills' defense, which has played well all quarter, should be able to hold them to 3 points and keep it at a 1-possession game. However, should is the key word here, because instead, the Bengals get a first down, because away from the play, receiver Tim McGee is able to get Bills defensive back Derek Burrows ejected. McGee was blocking Burrows hard but legally all game, especially after Chris Collinsworth told McGee that Burrows had a bad leg. And after McGee set this block, Burrows threw a punch. The ref saw it, ejected Burrows, and it gave the Bengals a first down. 2 plays later, Ickey Woods punches it in from a yard out, just like he did all season, does his signature Ickey shuffle, and gives the Bengals a 21-10 lead. Cincinnati wins the game by that score, and they advance to the Super Bowl. Who knows what happens if Burrows doesn't get ejected? But you can thank a $5 bill and a system put in place by Bruce Coslet for why he did. Because as it turns out, $5 can go a long way. Special thanks to all our Patreon supporters for helping out the channel. Your support is greatly appreciated. See how you can become a patron and request future video topics in the description below.